Hi, I'm Geoff Arnold, Orioles broadcaster.
I'm Melanie Newman.
And this is how we chill. But this is how we chill. But this is how we chill. But this is how we chill.
The Chill, presented by GEICO.
But this is how we chill.
You knew I was going to do it.
I really like, though, you went from very professional to...
This is how we chill.
All right, do you want the first question or you want me to go?
Why don't you go first? Ladies first.
All right, what's your most unforgettable call, good or bad?
Well, I'd say it was probably the Adam Frazier double call. Remember you and I were doing that game, and
I remember very well.
yeah, it was Pete Fairbanks on the mound, and we're like, this is going to be really tough. And then Jorge Mateo pinch runs at first base, and I blacked out. I don't really remember what was going on, but you hit the button next to me after I got done. You were like, you crushed that. I'm like, really? I don't know what I said.
But see, that's how I feel all the time. People are like, well, what'd you do? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Like, because I think people think that, like, when we're making a call that we have something planned, a lot of times I don't know what's going to come out. Like, do you know what's going to come out?
No, I never have it planned. I don't know call, good or bad. That's most memorable. And now I find it funny because once again, I'm inflicted.
Mel is struggling with her voice, pushing
as is
through.
Tradition. My very first call with you in spring training, and I wanted to come in, I wanted to prep, I wanted to do all this other stuff, and instead they're like, you're going to talk to the media, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. Then we got in the booth and like, you just rip it off and you're like, okay, let's go. So it's the first time I've ever officially in an Orioles capacity called a game. I had no voice. And I was just like, thank God I've known Geoff at least for the Carolina League and all the time we shared together, because Pat Valleca hit a home run to left and I barely squeaked that he got the home run, and I immediately hit my mute button so I could cough, and you took the rest of the call as a good partner, not as anything else.
I felt bad. Like, it was just because I know you deal with allergies. Like, I actually had allergies for the first time last year when we were playing Oakland, and I listened back and I was like, all right, my voice doesn't sound that bad. But as I was like calling the game, I was like, it doesn't feel too good. So
Yeah.
Allergies are the absolute worst.
Yeah, no, they're not great.
Have you ever snuck in a word or phrase during a broadcast before?
Ooh, you and I did that a lot. I want to say 2021. I think. I can't remember now. This is bad. I can't remember who would feed us the words. Some of them were easy to work in. Some of them were like goofy, so you really had to pick your spots.
I remember like I one time just said, use the word caress. And so I was like, that fastball caresses the outside corner.
Yeah, it was a weird one. I
Got it.
didn't love that one.
Yeah.
I can't remember, of course, any of the words that we used right now, but yeah, we've definitely done that before. I had players in the minor leagues, like every now and then one would pop up and they'd be like, hey, get this in today. And so we'd just figure it out. And half the time they'd have like a radio on in the dugout or something. And yeah.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Expialidocious. Yeah.
No
if
one
you
asked
say
us
it
to do
loud
that.
enough, it's sure to sound atrocious.
Oh, man.
You might even be a little precocious.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think, or would you describe me as precocious?
I don't currently remember what it means, so
Yeah, I don't think I do either.
precocious. Oh, I
Yeah.
spelled it right. Oh, I'm so good. Exceptionally early in development or occurrence, exhibiting mature qualities at an unusually early age. You might be very precocious, actually. I take
Definitely
it back.
not. I was definitely not that
I
way
feel
at
like you
all.
wore bow ties as an 8-year-old.
Really?
Yeah, just like super proper.
I got really uncomfortable as like a youngster, like dressing up. I don't know why.
Well, you're doing great.
Thanks. That's what I tell myself every day. I do like the Stuart Smalley look in the mirror in the morning. I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And gosh darn it, people like me. At least that's what I'm going to stick with.
Congrats.
Hey, thanks. What's your next question?
Well, before we move on, can we feed you guys words to put in for the next homestand?
Absolutely.
We have slime, tadpole, Byzantine Empire, hungry hippo, Zamboni.
Ramon Urias has been fielding ground
Here's my
balls
thing.
like
if I
a
use
hungry
hippo on air, I'm gonna I'm going to crack. I'm not going to be able to hold it together. And Brad's going to be like, what are you doing? I'm going to take tadpole.
Actually, I think I'm going to do Hungry Hippos. Like, that's too good.
I'm very excited for that.
Oh, I can't wait. I actually said last night when the third base coach, it wasn't our player, but third base coach for the other team puts the stop sign up really late. I said he was trying to stop, and he looked like a Chevy Suburban trying to turn and stop.
All right, question.
All right, let's hear this.
Do you have any pregame rituals or superstitions?
Just ask Ben McDonald that question.
Well, that's not really a ritual or superstition. That's
No, it's just preparation. I get really locked in before a game. I don't know why. It's like one of my greatest strengths. It also drives Sean crazy.
None of us really know why.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like that feeling. Like every broadcast is like a test. Like
Have you ever had a player step up and you like didn't know their ethnicity and like their great grandparents' background?
There's certain players that.
Are you aware of what page they're in the book that exists over on Ellis Island? Because I feel like that's your level of prep.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with folks coming through Ellis Island and what their great grandparents' names were. Yeah, but I try to prepare a lot. I don't prepare as much as I think Brett Hollander says I prepare.
You prepare enough that if we had 162 games of only the Orioles and the Cardinals, you would have information for all 162 games.
Yeah. I try to be thorough. Thorough.
You are.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Like, do you know sometimes like why I prepare that way is because when the game is going on, I don't have to look down all that much. I don't like looking down when I broadcast. I like looking at the person I'm broadcasting with. So that way it's just like I'm paying attention to what you're saying or what Brett's saying or what Ben's saying or what Palmer's saying or whoever I'm working with. And they can just go wherever they want to go. And I'll be like, okay, I remember from what I read about this that I can add something to this. I don't really know anything about this, so I'm going to just let you take it and I'll react to it this way. But it just gives me a way where I don't have to look down at my notes because, I mean, like, a game is kind of like an open book test in a way, but
yeah,
you shouldn't be looking down at your notes all that often because you can miss a lot of stuff going on in the field. So, I don't know. That's the way that I do it. But do you have any superstitions?
So I steal all the really nice hotel pens when we're on the
I
road.
do that too.
So, because they're heavy and they're metal, they write beautifully and they last forever. So if we lose, I will change out my pen. The Vinoy went 3-0. I got to use a new one today.
Isn't that the pink pen? Isn't that a pink pen? Yeah.
If you have more of those, I want them.
I don't actually. No.
So I change pens. When I was in college, we had to eat gummy bears, but only while our team was at bat, not while they were on defense. And we ran out 2 years in a row at the final game at the Vanderbilt Regional because, of course, we always got Vandy as the host. And Troy got eliminated. And for that, I'm sorry that I didn't buy enough gummy bears. But, yeah.
That's a shame. There's this one hotel that we've stayed in Kansas City. And they have the best pens, and I've stole like 4 or 5 of them.
I like how you don't name it because you're like, we're going to go back and
I stole 4
more.
or 5, yeah. I don't want any notes from security.
I
Geoff,
leave a
what are you
tip
doing?
for housekeeping, but
do
I'm
too.
sure they have enough pens.
You actually know what the best pen that I had? Do you remember when we did that? Remember when you and I went with
riveting.
Ben to do the Philly cheesesteak thing?
Yeah, the cheesesteak crawl.
The cheesesteak crawl?
Yeah.
We went to Gino's. It was the second place we went. I don't think Gino's is my favorite cheesesteak. But
they
they
have good
did.
pens.
But they gave
Lost
me a
my
pen,
pillow.
and it was such a great pen, and I lost it after like a day. So I'm really I was really bummed about that.
It's upsetting.
Yeah,
Should be better.
you can't always get what you want.
But if you try sometimes.
You can get what you need.
Exactly.
Let's see another one from Elsie. What's a behind-the-scenes part of your job fans would be surprised to know about?
I don't know if there's really a surprise part. I always joke with you guys that like you just woke up and you picked an outfit and like good for you. But like I have to go, okay, do I need to tan today? Where are my nails at? Do I have to curl my hair? Okay, I have to put on makeup. Okay, I have to mess with fake eyelashes. Like, did I already wear this outfit? Because I'm going to get called out if I wear the same outfit twice. Weird stuff that you guys obviously don't deal with, which is why I like radio, because I can just go.
Radio
and
casual.
No one's gonna know if I've worn that outfit before. It's beautiful.
Unless you just turn to me and say, "Didn't you wear that yesterday? You bum."
No, I appreciate that you guys can rewear stuff and like people don't
Yeah,
care
it's-
because I'm envious. I would think it's probably the fact that like, especially with this different role, is just how much go there is, and a lot of it isn't even for air. So like I'll try to get up in the morning, breakfast, go to the gym. If I can get a protein shake on my drive-in, then great. But if not, like it's getting here, you know, like let's say a 2 for a 6:30 game and going straight to Clubhouse for an hour, trying to talk to guys. And some of it is for air and some of it's just you're like, hey, what are you watching on TV right now? Like, are you following the NBA at all? Tell me about that. Like, how's your wife? Again, stuff we're not going to talk about, but it's important to give
Right.
players that human perspective, and they don't feel like every time I walk up it's just that I want something from them.
Yeah.
And so going from Clubhouse to batting practice for another hour, because if there were guys that weren't in Clubhouse, like that's my chance then to also talk to them, talk to coaches, doing the pre-production meetings, and then obviously you go on air and it's just go from there, because then it's the pregame show, it's throwing it up and then getting down to the dugout, or if we're on the road I'm already in the dugout and trying to listen and balance. Okay, is something I just heard, is that appropriate for me to repeat on air? Is that something that I need to respectfully keep with the team? So yeah, there's just a lot of little stuff that like we don't ever use for air, I guess, would be like the biggest surprise.
All the time.
But it's important all the same.
And there's sometimes I think there's information too that we get that you look at it and you're reading it, and like we'll read different types of stuff, and sometimes I'll read it and be like, I got to read that like 2 or 3 times to understand what it actually means. And I get the gist of it. And so sometimes when we're on the air, it's like, I'm not going to tell you where I read it. I'm not going to give you all the stuff, because sometimes it's like, yeah, I had to read that 2 or 3 times. So it's like, but it's important. So it's like, I'll just give you the gist and I'll let you take my word for it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's like, yeah, it's like, I think we're trying to bring joy to people. We're also trying to explain stuff.
It's
in a way that
entertainment and
makes
education
sense.
at the same time,
Yes,
is
it
what I
is.
always say.
And we're good at the entertainment part.
I think so.
We are really good at the entertainment part. It's got to be fun. Like if you don't have fun,
It's a game. It's supposed
Exactly.
to be fun.
if you don't have fun at a baseball game, I really don't think you can have fun anywhere. That's some wisdom for the kids out there. And by the way, because social media is the way it is, would you like to tell everyone why the sunglasses?
Because I'm under concussion
I
protocol
know.
still.
I know. You're
And,
playing hurt. You're still playing hurt.
Yesterday was the discovery that my short-term memory is not really great right now.
What did you forget?
No, I do a lot of like I open my phone and I immediately don't know why I opened it, or like it's worse than like you walk into a different room and you don't remember. Like it's instantaneous. And today was the discovery that we don't like light anymore. So yeah, we have all these beautiful lights in
Yeah.
here, so this can be aesthetic. And my eyeballs are not having it, so
I know.
I'm very chill today.
You are very chill. Or you could just say it's like, you know what? I wear glasses because I'm just that cool.
I've never, the coolest I've ever been in my life was that I returned the same night from getting hit by the ball. That's it. I have never been the cool kid.
But everybody's coming up to you, right?
I got a standing O at Fenway, which is tough to do for anybody. I felt sick. I got
Literally
dapped
and
up.
figuratively.
I got dapped up by the guys. I was like, this might have been worth it for this one moment. Not really.
There's
but-
one. I'm not gonna say who said it, but there was what if there was one person that said when they were watching from their spot in the bullpen, and they
Keegan Aiken.
this is so funny.
Because we just talked about what I do before the game. I walked in the next day. I didn't get one interview for in-game use, or like even not an interview, but just information.
Right.
And Keegan, who isn't super chatty, at least for us, always nice, comes up and just very loudly from across the clubhouse goes, "I saw it all from the bullpen. Your shoes went up in the air." And I went,
What advice, Mel, would you give to someone who wants to do what you do someday?
wear a helmet. I think you have to put social media aside, which is it's so vastly different from when I got into the industry. Like I started really working in the sport when I was 15, and we had YouTube. like at best. You didn't have this iceberg view of like it's glamorous, it's the highlight reel or anything else. You really have to put everything aside and like be willing to work in places you haven't been before. Like I don't want to go work in Montana. I don't want to work here. Like you have to be willing to pack up and go where you've never been, where you don't know anybody. You usually have to accept sometimes the job doesn't pay. You know, sometimes it's housing and food and that's it. And I think the minute you accept to be where your feet are and you graciously accept the work and the grind, you really appreciate it so much more. I will always love my time in the minor leagues because I finally found a way to actually practice that and do it. And there's something gratifying in working that hard and for such a limited audience and still giving players a chance to feel like they were recognized, because not all of them make it to the big leagues. Very few of them make it to the big leagues. But for a moment, you have the capacity to make somebody feel like they matter. And that's going to stick with me 110%. I thought like, oh, I'm going to get a big league job when I'm 25. No, I was on the doorsteps of 30 at that point. And I'm glad I didn't get it that young because I learned so much. And you have to work multiple jobs to figure it out. I didn't move out of my parents' house until I was 29. And again, I will go on the back end. Now that they have social media, you need to be willing to create your own stuff and put it out there, but with quality. You know, not gimmicky stuff. We see it all the time, but actually put quality behind your work.
I kind of get annoyed by the gimmicky stuff where it's just like, ooh, Mr. Engagement over there. This is obviously just for clicks. This is obviously, and I get so annoyed with that stuff because you're like, and I think what's tough is like when it's somebody that like, you know, and you're just like, that's not you. Like, why are you doing that? Like, I think that you make a good point about the social media thing. Like, I try and use it. Everybody loves seeing Ben McDonald scare me, and it's really funny. And so I'll put it up. He'll put it up, and
But that's more of a reflection of your personality.
Yeah, I think so too. It's like, and I think I'm good at being me. Like when like I'm like in these settings, and I think like you can tell people who are not being themselves. With baseball, you're doing so many games. You kind of have to just be yourself because it's going to come out anyways. You're going to slip up at some point.
So you always joke with me, like if something goes on in the booth, I just say it on air and you're like, Melanie's breaking the fourth wall again.
Breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, we've broken a lot of fourth walls. Like I think people kind of know us as a group as people. And I think that's like one of our strengths. And people are just like, you know what? He's an idiot, but he's our idiot. And we're just, you know, he's exactly like us. And that's really like what we are. Like what you see is what you get. Like,
for sure.
If you see us at a bar, like we're going to be the same people. I remember when Brett and I were at this holiday party for a friend. I don't think you were there. I think you might have been in Georgia at the time. Brett and I are talking. We're getting a drink at the bar. We're having like one of these exchanges like we typically have. Like the exchanges we have on the air, they're exactly the same exchanges we have off the air. And this guy looks at us and he's just like, you guys are literally exactly the same. Yep. And I'm like, you got it. It's nothing, no frills, just us being us. Us being us. And I'd say like be yourself. Be yourself, have fun. You know, and I like what you said about like where you go and visiting different places. Like you and I are both in Frisco, Texas. I don't think you or I ever thought we were going to work in Frisco, Texas, but it was a great place. I lived in Winston-Salem for a couple of years. I met friends there that I still talk to all the time. And just enjoy.
I think that the big cities are easy. It's like the remote nothingness that you have to be willing to take.
Yeah. Plus they have sweet tea in Winston-Salem. It's really good. They have also this fried chicken place. It's really good. There's a lot of good things about Winston-Salem. I don't know if people know that. Have you've spent time in Winston-Salem, right?
I was in Carolina.
I know. But like all the different
my
like
favorite coffee
places.
shop is there. Camino Coffee with their magic coffee.
Have fun, be yourself, try hard. Do right by people,
but don't be a try hard.
Yes, don't be try too hard. Like just be you, and that's ultimately it's got to be good enough. There's certain things I won't do because it's just not me.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. After all,
this is how we chill.
I think that's it. I think we're good. That's what we ended on.
That's all. Thanks for watching, everybody.
But this is how we chill. But this is how we chill.